As a white person, if you are not constantly talking to your family and friends and basically shaming them, you're not doing your fucking job as a white person.
And you're my boss? If you look at the Austin Metcalf story versus the white lady who said the N-word to a kid in a park, those two stories having GoFundMes raising hundreds of thousands of dollars each.
When it comes to the Carmelo Anthony case, all I'm going to say is about damn time. And I know y'all probably wonder.
Wow.
To all of the people who are against Carmelo Anthony, white people, I'm telling you and I'm telling you now, you ever even think to approach me, I too will poke you as well. Straight to the heart.
I feel like a lot of people are trying to get in the paint of starting a race war right now. I have to be so real. If you look at the Austin Metcalf story versus the white lady who said the N-word to a kid in a park recently, those two stories having GoFundMes raising hundreds of thousands of dollars each for each prospective case, I'm like, oh, I see what y'all are trying to do. Racial tensions right now just suck. And first of all, this is an indictment on modern liberalism and modern race theory. But setting that aside, it's just so crazy also that humanity right now has this really weird desensitized, like, I feel like everyone's just like living in trauma right now. People are not even human, because the fact that hundreds of thousands of dollars could be raised for a kid who stabbed another kid in the heart, and it gets raised because the victim is white and because the perpetrator is black, for which that is just an objective truth. I don't care who's mad at it. You can go argue with your mother, go argue with your sister, go argue with your wall, because that is why that happened, right? Because there's been so many people whose videos we'll watch here in a second have defended the black kid who stabbed the white kid in the heart simply because of the race.
Hey, to all of the people who are against Carmelo Anthony, me as a black man in America, white people, I'm telling you and I'm telling you now, you ever even think to approach me, bully me, harass me, think you're going to be with your twin brother or twin whatever, and do anything to me, I too will poke you as well. Straight to the heart.
Summer is coming up, and I know that you want to feel confident in your own skin and your body just like I do. So let's talk about something that is revolutionizing the weight loss industry, Hypnosio. This is not your typical diet app though. Hypnosio is a revolutionary self-hypnotherapy tool that tackles the subconscious reasons behind weight loss struggles. Unlike fad diets and grueling workouts, Hypnosio uses guided hypnotherapy tools to address stress cravings, emotional eating, poor habits, all the root causes to weight gain. And it's science-backed. Research shows that people who use hypnotherapy actually lose twice as much weight as those who don't. And they actually keep it off for over 18 months. Whether you're a busy professional, a parent, or a yo-yo dieter, you're just always on the go, which is me, Hypnosio actually helps you build a healthier relationship with food. Its neural pathway restructuring and subconscious barrier elimination technology rewires your habits for lasting change. It's affordable, accessible on any device. You can download it on the App Store or Google Play. Trust me, your mind and your body will very much thank you. So what are you waiting for? Use the link in my description box or my pinned comment below and grab 15% off your first subscription. Thank you so much to Hypnosio for sponsoring today's video. And now on to the video. I would be a lot more outraged about the GoFundMe for the white lady who said the N-word if last week there wasn't a GoFundMe for the black kid who stabbed the white kid in the heart, right? So either everybody gets to advocate on behalf of their race, everyone gets to be tribal and defend their group, or nobody does. So we're going to drop all of it, or every group gets to engage. And for me, I just feel like if you didn't have anything to say about all that money being raised for, you know, the murderer who stabbed the white kid, and also, and the only reason I'm comparing it is because it was last week. It's like, it's not like this is something from the distant past. Like, people love to bring up old cases when talking about new shit. This is like 2 weeks apart. Like, the white boy's body isn't even cold yet.
When it comes to the Carmelo Anthony case, all I'm going to say is about damn time.
I'm not saying that the behavior of this woman who called the little kid the N-word is good either. I think that's actually disgusting. I think that insulting children or like adults, you know, going at children like that, I've always disliked that. I thought that's always trashy. And I just feel like you can always get out of a conflicted situation with a child if you're an adult without doing something like that. However, if we're just comparing, there's a person who said something and there's a person who stabbed someone in the heart. So, and a week apart, and you're getting GoFundMes for both. It's indicative of how divided we are and how much our modern views on race have failed us. Because this would not have happened when I was a kid. This would not have happened when I was a teenager, or even maybe like my early 20s. And people have amnesia. People act like there wasn't a time where racial relations were like much, much better than this. Like they have us in this false narrative that we're always progressing to get better over time. And it's like, no, it can slide back too. And this one-way conversation of like only racial minorities get to talk about why it's sliding back or try to come up with solutions, that white people have to be, you know, the recipients of some sort of education from them or on the receiving end of attacks over it, but can't participate in solving the issue or expressing their perspective on things at all. That clearly doesn't work. So opening channels of conversation to where white people don't have to be ashamed of being white. White people don't have to feel like they're in the corner, which, by the way, is just a statistical reality. Go ahead and look up what percentage white people are of the entire global population. It's like, I've seen some people say 7%. It goes up to like 13% maybe. So if we're talking about minorities, white people are objectively a minority.
Hey, to all of the people who are against Carmelo Anthony, me as a black man in America, white people, I'm telling you and I'm telling you now, you ever even think to approach me, bully me, harass me, think you're going to be with your twin brother or twin whatever, and do anything to me, I too will poke you as well. Straight to the heart.
Wow, and you're not a fucking demon. Like, do you think that's like a good look on you? Or, you know, considering you're so comfortable addressing white people as, you know, a collective, do you think that you're invoking like anything good on your collective of black people that you feel so confident speaking for, which you don't, by the way, because there's plenty of black people that are fucking disgusted with this situation? You think it's a flex that you have such a lack of emotional control, bodily control, that it would take just someone coming up and saying something or bullying you or whatever, and you are so willing to not just stab them. First of all, not even just fight them. Even fighting them was one thing, but stab them, and specifically in the heart. Like, that's the level of justification that you think is normal to occur between two high school students. Okay, you're a normal person. You're a normal person.
As a white person, if you are not constantly talking to your family and friends and basically shaming them into caring about the issues, you're not doing your fucking job as a white person. You're just not.
And you're my boss? Bitch. You're my boss. She really thinks she's the CEO over here, talking about do your job, white people. First of all, I know you're very ashamed of it, but you look probably at least half white. So what are you doing? What are you doing? Second of all, white people have no inherent job, role, or obligations to anybody, other white people or other people of other races, simply by virtue of being white. I'm so sorry to say. They don't have to give a fuck about your problems. They don't have to give a fuck about solving your problems. They don't have to give a fuck about other white people's problems. We are all individuals on this planet. And that's, I think, the most disgusting thing about modern society is how heavily we're leaning into this collectivism where you feel comfortable and like it's not schizophrenic as hell to hold up a phone and you're addressing it to white people. That's a schizophrenic concept. You are out of your fucking mind to think that you can just magically address billions of people like that. You are crazy, bitch. I know it's so easy to blame all your problems on your skin tone in the least racist country in all of human history. In the least racist country in all of human history. Half of understanding life is understanding your deck of cards versus other people's deck of cards and playing the hand that you were dealt with. And so long as y'all spend your whole life blaming all the ways in which your life has fallen short of your expectations on your skin color, I mean, it's just pathetic.
When it comes to the Carmelo Anthony case, all I'm going to say is about damn time. And I know y'all probably wonder why I'm going with this. So listen up. y'all don't know the story, so Carmelo Anthony is a student who basically was being bullied by some twins, and he was on track, and they had a track meet, and basically the twins had already made it clear that when they seen him, like, it was gonna be problems. And y'all can say what y'all want to say in the comments about the story. Y'all can tell me if I'm wrong, because I know that's what y'all gonna do. But long story short, so he just knew he had to protect himself. Now, story was that he bought a knife, but we found out that it was like this little blade sharpener that you sharpen your cleats with, so it technically wasn't a knife. It was something that most of the track people would already have for their cleats. So one of the twins, rest his soul, basically told him that he was gonna put his hands on him. He said, if you put your hands on me, I'm gonna basically show you what's up. Now, unfortunately, the situation ended the way it ended, and a life was lost, but the life typically was a white kid.
Tragically, a life was lost, but it was a white kid. That actually, that blew my mind. Like, what reality am I in? We just timeline shifted. I feel like I just quantum leaped into a reality where someone can actually say that shit and like that confidently. Let's say he was being bullied. Guess what I was in school a lot? I was bullied. I didn't fucking stab anybody, bitch. I didn't stab anybody. Some of you hoes are lucky. But I didn't stab anybody. And if I had, I 100% would have deserved to go to prison at that age. They're like 17. So to act like, well, he should have known. He told them that if he put his hands on him, that it was going to be a problem. Okay, maybe it's a mistranslation, but I think most normal people, if they hear that, the extent of what they think is like, oh, it's going to be a fist fight, or it's going to be a physical altercation, not like you're going to stab someone in the heart. That's crazy. And maybe that's where your logic takes you. Like, you're able to be like on such a different planet that should have made sense to the victim here. That like, hey, he told me it was going to be a problem. He probably thought it was going to be at worst a fight. If even that. Because people talk shit all day and don't do anything. So if it was going to be anything, it would have been that. And yet it was a knife in the heart. And you are the stuck on stupid ass bitch up here on TikTok talking about tragically life was lost, but it was a white kid. You're pathetic. You're pathetic, and unironically, you probably need Jesus. I actually think any deity, like even like, I don't think Buddha would be cool with that. I don't think Allah would be on the same page with you, and Allah's on some pretty fucked up pages, but like, really, you stab someone because they asked you to stand up from a chair? That's sick. So I don't really care what God you find, be it the one true creator or some sort of lesser deity. I'm guessing that's all better than you just being this fucking soulless. Which?
Dear white people.
Hi.
Y'all are your ancestors. Y'all really live by the guilty until proven innocent. This young man was defending himself, but y'all automatically just said he was guilty. He had $1 million bond over his head. And the judge felt need to let him free. I did a video last night before I went to bed. And do you know how many comments I had to delete?
$1 million bond, as is typically probably the case when you stab someone in the heart. I'm going to guess that's probably the range, right? And the judge feeling like he needed to let him out really doesn't mean shit, because you could be blind and see that really doesn't mean anything. And it's crazy how that's how I know that you guys who typically argue on feelings, like liberals and racial activists, they always argue on feelings, right? But they're not really doing that with this one. They're really trying to appeal to authority. Like, well, the judge said, and it's like, that's how I know y'all in your hearts know it was wrong. No pun, very horrible pun. That's how I know that in your hearts, which are fortunately still beating, and no biggie that it's $1 million bond, right? Because the parents are raising hundreds of thousands on GoFundMe. I'm sure it'll hit that pretty soon. So make sure you subscribe to this podcast channel as well as my main channel. Follow me on X, TikTok, and Instagram. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify. And thank you so much to Hypnosia for sponsoring today's video. Go check them out. And I'll see you in the next episode of the Blaire White Project podcast. Bye.